We are ready to rock and roll, so we're going to get launched right into it since it's now 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, excuse me, Eastern time. And our agenda for today, nice and succinct and to the point. First of all, we're going to formally introduce Beth, who's going to be your host for this adventure around Bali. And then Beth and I are going to tell you a little bit about what you need to know to get ready for the trip. That's probably the most important part because everybody's like, what do we need to bring to Bali? I'll touch on what's going to happen on arrival, what you need to be prepared for, and what to expect. And then I'll mention a few notes about Bali and the experience there, but I'm not going to go through the itinerary in any great detail. You will have undoubtedly reviewed your copy of the daily, which shows the itinerary that could, of course, change as we go forward. But most importantly, I'd like to make sure that any questions that you have pertaining to getting ready or what's going to happen on the trip or pretty much anything at all, that we can address those. So that is what we are going to do today. Most of the information that we're going to talk about actually is in writing in the information that our team has sent along. The trip specific reference guide. We have a general reference guide that gives sort of all the information about, what you need to know about participating in our trip. So it's all there in writing. We might touch on a couple things that aren't there, but we're also going to make a recording of this webinar as we always do, so that if you want to tune back in, if you hear something or there's something crops up, you'll be able to get a copy of that tomorrow. So Beth, who's hosted a number of trips for us already, and I must say to rave reviews, and we have a great team of hosts, so all of our hosts get rave reviews, but Beth has a lot of experience. Well, a lot. I mean, you've done a number of trips for us in the meantime, have you not?
Yeah, maybe nine, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say we've lost track. So I think the Beth is the epitome of a wheel and anchor host, and you'll learn a lot more about her. Beth, do you want to say a few words about hosting and your experience and so on before we get into the nitty gritty?
Oh, sure. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. I think everyone would be in the morning. I'm in Ontario. And it's full of snow, so I'm really looking forward to the trip. Um, I'll talk more about my role as a host when we're together, and Gordon will touch on that, I'm sure, a little bit today as well. But mostly my job is to support you to have a really great time and to make sure that everything runs really smoothly. And as I'm sure you've already experienced, our ops team is taking care of all the details and have created a really wonderful itinerary for you. And so my job is to make sure that that just comes off more or less as much as possible without a hitch. And if there's any little hitch, that we just rise to the occasion and still have enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, go with the flow. I mean, that's travel is an adventure. I mean, that's just the way it is. I was incidentally, I had dinner. I'm here in Thailand, which is my home for those of you that know, and I had dinner with some members who popped onto my island out of nowhere. And we were on a trip 2 years ago in Tahiti together, where our ship broke down on the first day of the trip, of a 12-day trip around Tahiti. Um, but I pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and we ended up chartering a catamaran and going around Tahiti for 12 days. And they had the best trip of their lives. I had a near heart attack when it all went down. But, that's an extreme example of what a host would do on a trip. That's never happened to me before. God forbid that should ever happen again. But the whole point of having the host there is that, as Beth said, there to manage the logistics, deal with things that come up, because they always do in travel. And half the time you won't even know they happen because Beth will have already solved it before anything's gone on. Important note to make a distinction between a host and a guide. And this is if you haven't traveled with us before, or if you haven't traveled in an organized setting before. Some companies call it a tour leader or tour escort or a tour manager. There's a million, ways to describe the role. But in our case, to host is first and foremost, as Beth described, to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But it's also to make sure that you get what you came for. We are a community. We are all about relating to one another, sharing the experience with our fellow Wheel and Anchor members. That is a big part of our ethos. And so that's also something that Beth sort of looks out for, to make sure that you're getting out of the experience what you intended to. And so she'll be checking in with you along the way. Beth, however, is not the local guide. So just to be clear, we have fantastic guides in Bali, in Ubud, in Sinur who are going to show you around and tell you all about the culture, the landscape, the volcanoes, everything you need to know about Bali. So those folks are Indonesian. They're on the ground in Bali, and they do that job. And Beth is sort of your liaison in between for all those logistics things. So yeah, just to let you know, I see questions are already coming in. That's great. No, you can't see other Zoom participants. This is a webinar. It's not a Zoom meeting. We've tried that in the past. Doesn't work. It's far too complicated, and it might not be if you're used to participating in online meetings, but we've not had success with it with our members in the past. So you can't see them. Sorry, sorry about that. You'll get to meet them soon. I promise. As soon as you get to Bali. So Beth, let's get into the pre-trip preparation. On that note, though, before I forget, if you do have a question or a comment or anything, just as Mary just did, type it into the chat box or into the Q&A box. If you don't see those icons on your screen, you might have to scroll up or down. We may not get to it till we get to the Q&A section at the end, but we will answer or address your question. So I will start off with the preparation about your documents that you need. Basically, you need your passport. The old days of money, tickets, passport are kind of gone in the sense that remaining from that, you really only need your passport and a phone because your money is electronic. And, in many cases, we'll talk about the Wise card. It might be in your phone. And your tickets are probably on your phone in electronic format. So as long as you have your passport, you are good to go. There are no visa requirements for entering Bali. There is, however, a electronic customs declaration that you should complete within 3 days of arrival. So you can't do it now. You're gonna have to wait until 3 days before you leave. And it's just a customs declaration. It's pretty straightforward. The link to that is in the trip specific reference guide that we have previously sent you. So look for that document in your emails from us, and you will find the link, and you can go online and fill that in. Also, when you arrive, you will, and I'm covering the arrival section now, but we're on talking about passports and all that stuff. There is a tourism tax. It's not expensive. It's about $10 Canadian. It's 150,000 Indonesian rupiah. You can pay it in advance online, or you can just pay it when you show up with cash or a credit card. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, if you want to save yourself a couple minutes at the airport, but sometimes navigating those sites is not worth the stress where you can just do it when you get there. Either way is fine. The only other thing to be aware of, less so when you arrive, but this is common for many countries. They want to make sure that you're leaving again. Quite honestly, our demographic doesn't usually get asked the question. It's usually the folks that are in their 20s. They're worried they're going to come down to their tropical paradise and not leave. But they may ask you for proof of a return ticket or an onward ticket to show that you're leaving Indonesia. So in most cases, I think everybody on this trip is probably coming home or they're traveling somewhere else in Southeast Asia. But just keep that in mind because while immigration is less likely to ask you for it, the airline, when you check in, will ask for it. The airlines tend to be stricter on checking the boxes of what's required for immigration because they're responsible if they failed to do that and you don't have the proper documentation. So that's what you need in terms of advance documentation. And again, all the instructions are in the trip specific reference guide. And other than that, just make a copy of your passport, either a photocopy, good old fashioned photocopy, or just make a scan with your phone. That's what I always do. And that way, when you arrive, you can stow that away and you probably won't even need your passport again until you check out and move on to the next hotel or, for that matter, travel back home. So I think that's about all I want to say about passport and documents. Maybe Beth, I can pass it over to you to say a few words about what to pack for this tropical getaway.
Sure, thank you. So, what to pack? I'm sure many of you have been checking what the weather's like, and you will know that we will be arriving and be there for the end of the rainy season. So, for sure, we can anticipate that there will be rain. As you also may be aware, that what the rain can look like is just like short, quick, big outbursts of rain. So, I'm starting with rain because I think that staying dry or being able to dry off quickly will be really important for our comfort and enjoyment. So plan on bringing some kind of a lightweight raincoat that's easy to pack. Ideally, it would be breathable because, of course, it's going to be hot and humid. You want to have, if you are able to pack also a small portable umbrella, that will come in handy as well. One pro tip that I got from Amber, also a host and the COO of the company, is to have sandals that dry quickly. So you may have your Tivas and they may be super sturdy and good for you to be walking and hiking, but you want to consider having also something that will dry quickly, some kind of an EVA material, because it's so humid there that even when the rain stops and when you're drying off, your shoes may stay damp longer than you may enjoy. And I'm a person that really cares about my shoes, so I've been thinking about this, and I've got a pair that will dry really quickly. And so I wanted to share that tip with you as well because it's a very particular climate, and yeah, to be prepared for that. Other than those rain focus tips, in terms of packing, like mostly dress in Bali is pretty casual. So just lots of layering still because of the rain. And also, we're going to go into the mountains and it'll be cooler there. So you do want to have like a little cardigan or a little sweater, something to warm up with, but mostly to have like lightweight clothes and lots of flowing clothes, I think, will be key because the humidity is going to be quite high. And then also, we're going to go into air conditioning. So you want to just be able to take something on and off easily. Another key thing is we're going to be visiting a lot of really beautiful temples. And you probably know from having already researched a little bit about Bali that the temples are very, very sacred places to local people. And so, like other places in the world, modesty is important when we go into those places. So, to have like a lightweight shawl, or of course, in Bali, the name of that the material or the article of clothing is a sarong. So to have a sarong to be able to cover your shoulders and also your knees. So I know people will be wearing shorts or skirts, but on the days that we go to temple, you're going to want to have something a little bit longer. And other than that, I think that sunscreen, of course, also because it's very tropical and humid in the rainy season, there will be some local bugs. So to just have a really useful bottle of bug spray will, yeah, I think you'll find that more comfortable. But also long sleeve shirts and things that are flowing, because then, of course, you don't have to worry as much about sunscreen and or bug spray for that. But those are my tips. I would say also, as I think we're probably all accustomed to traveling with water bottles. So to have a water bottle is always great. I think I said sun hat, and then the graphic is really clear about sun hat because it's going to be sunny. But other than that, it's, bring a couple of bathing suits, of course. And yeah.
Yeah, bring a
Did I
couple
miss
bathing
anything,
suits.
Gordon?
No, no, yeah, I think you got everything. Just in terms of the weather, it's, as Beth said, you will travel up to, at the very least, the base of Mount Batur. And so unless you're actually planning on climbing it, which is an option, not something that we offer anymore, but there are excursions that one can do that leaves in the middle of the night to climb up Mount Batur at sunrise. It's quite amazing. It's quite a trek. But unless you're planning to do that, it's not going to get that cool. Like it would be surprising if it was under 20 degrees at any place you're going to visit. On top of the volcano, it's a different story. It is chilly up there at night or in the early morning. So that's kind of what to expect temperature wise. And as Beth said, it's the end of the rainy season. But you know what? Seasonality here in the tropics these days, it's so all over the place. Again, I'm here in Thailand. It's dry season and yet it rains. So because that's what happens now. climate change means that things are unpredictable. So you will get some rain. As Beth said, it's usually short downpours. It might be a longer downpour, but it's not going to rain for a week. That would be ex- not impossible, but very surprising if you got anything like that. That's why the humidity and the quick drying shoes, that's such a brilliant tip from Amber. It really is, because you find if you try and hang stuff out overnight, it won't be dry because it's so humid there. So I think that's all great advice. Please remember your adapter as well for electricity, because it is 230 volts there. Most of your appliances, particularly your phone chargers or your camera charger and all that stuff, operates on dual voltage anyway. So you don't need a converter. You only need the plug so that your thing fits into their thing. And so the universal adapters will work for that. But if you are carrying an appliance which is a bit different than just a phone charger or whatever, or a laptop charger or a tablet or anything, then do take a look. We've heard about hearing aid chargers, for example, that sometimes are only on 110 volts, so North American voltage. I've heard about, if you're taking a curling iron, I don't quite honestly recommend one, not only because I'm a man, but also because I think that, that humidity will play havoc with your hair anyway. You just have to deal with it. But if you're going to bring something like that, check as well the voltage. But otherwise, I think that's it. I think, yeah, that's all that we have to talk about in terms of what to pack. Oh, and pack light. Like, you don't need a lot of stuff. You can get laundry done there. I mean, you can do it in the hotels, which is tends to be a bit more expensive, but there's laundry services all over the place in Bali. You can get your laundry done for nothing, a couple of bucks a kilo. So bring less. That way you can buy and take home more, because you're going to want to shop there. I just about guarantee you're going to want to shop there, and there's lots of interesting things to buy. So leave lots of room in your suitcase. Beth, you want to talk a little bit about money and how to go about with dealing with the currency and so on?
Sure, thank you. So, Wise cards are something that Wheel and Anchor recommends. I know some of you on the trip have traveled with us before and may have them. So, but you want to be able to access cards through, or your cash through ATMs, which are plentiful and very easy to use. Wise cards are accepted all throughout Bali. So, if for those of us that use Wise cards, that won't be a problem. And you can bring your regular bank cards. And in terms of like paying for things in restaurants, most places that will take a bank card or a credit card. But also, there are many small places that we'll be visiting or nearby that you'll want to check out, like little markets and things like that. So, you definitely want to have some cash with you as well. Um, Anything else about that, Gordon?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, you don't need tons of cash. So two things. Don't bother trying to get Indonesian rupiah before you leave Canada. That you will just leave the bank in frustration. I mean, it's not worth it. They charge you an arm and a leg, and you probably have to wait a month to get it. You can get it at an ATM when you arrive, easy peasy. Similarly, this is not a place where you can show up with US dollars and pretend to use it. They don't care about US dollars any more than they care about Canadian dollars or any other currency. So if you are bringing cash to exchange, absolutely, but don't go to the step of changing it to US to then change it to rupiah. You're just paying the banks twice for exchanging money. So there's no benefit to doing that. Honestly, ATM when you show up, it's the way to go. It always works. I mean, I usually never have cash when I travel. I only get it when I need it at the ATM. Um, and the Wise card, as Beth mentioned, is what we strongly recommend, not because we get anything for it, but because honestly, it is a great invention. So you can charge it up with Canadian dollars. You can proactively change it in other currencies. Or what I usually do is just leave it in Canadian dollars. And then every time you make a transaction, you're getting about the best exchange rate that you can get at a retail level. Like, honestly, we use it, corporately for all of our transactions, because I've yet to find a bank that comes anywhere close to their rates. So the Wise card is a great thing, and it's free. I think you have to pay $30 to apply for it, which they dump into your account afterwards. So if you don't have one and you want to get one, if you apply now, you'll get a digital card instantly. And the physical card, you still have time to get it. It takes 3 or 4 weeks, but you still have time. So we sort of suggest that. And talking about what you would need cash for, well, tips. And of course, tips are included for all aspects of the trip that we where tips are expected and where you would otherwise have to fork it out. We've already built it into the price. So Beth will be doing the tipping of the guides and the drivers um, and restaurant waiters, or again wherever a service is provided by us on your behalf, we will take care of the tipping. You don't have to worry about it. The only place then you need to tip is where we are not there. So when you're out for a dinner on your own, any meal on your own, when you're dining out, 10% is customary. A lot of places, more and more in Bali, do put the service charge on the bill. So it's important that you take a look and look at your bill, make sure everything's there, and then see if you see a 10% service charge. In which case, excuse me, you don't need to add any additional tip. And they do prefer to receive tips in cash, because the whole way that we do it doesn't work there, right? When you present your card to pay the bill, they will put the amount that's on the bill. There's no line to fill in the tip. They don't have that there. So if you have no other choice because you don't have any cash and you want to put the tip on the bill, you have to tell them, the bill comes out to whatever, 247,000 rupees, and you want to leave him 260,000, you got to tell him before he charges the card, because otherwise, yeah, they can't add it on afterwards. So that's what to say about that. Thank you for all the questions. I will answer them at the end. Mary asked about where you can get the Wise card. All the details of the Wise card are in the general trip information that we've sent. So there's a link in there that you just need to click on. So if you refer to that document, you'll find the link, and you just click on it and it'll take you to the Wise site. And it's pretty straightforward. It'll guide you right through on what you need to put in order to get it. So just check that. If you for some reason run into any problem, just drop an email to Melody, our sales support person, and she'll forward the information. But it is there in what we sent you. Beth, do you want to talk about SIM cards, and then I'll talk about
Sure.
Telegram? Or yeah,
Okay. So Wheel and Anchor will provide you with a SIM card, which means I will provide you with a SIM card when you arrive, and we'll put it into your phone at that time. So the SIM card lets you then, of course, be completely dialed in and be able to access your phone and use Google, etc. So but in terms of arriving, you want to have your own ability. So when you go into the airport, for instance, if you need to be in touch with me because for whatever reason, or you're wondering where the transfer is, although I will send you all that information in advance, and you should know, you will have access to Wi-Fi. And then you'll travel to the hotel. I will meet with you and provide you with a SIM card to put into your phone. And if that isn't something you've done before, like taking out your existing SIM card or putting a new one in, that's something I can help you with. I know sometimes people, if you haven't done it before, I know the first time I did it, I was like, I'm going to break my phone. You won't break your phone. It'll be fine. And I'll take care of that with you once you arrive.
fantastic. So bringing your phone is really, really important. I mean, these days we take our phones everywhere, so it kind of goes without saying. But Telegram is the reason for bringing your phone. Please follow the instructions again. It's in the documentation we sent, how to download it, how to set it up, and how to send Beth a message so that you and she are connected that way. And we'll talk about that in a minute. If there's any issues, particularly with the arrival, then you can get a hold of her, but also at any time during the trip, because this is a live away. There's time to be out and about. And so, having the phone for Google Maps and for Google Translator, whatever app you want to use for all that thing is great, but also to be able to reach Beth, and not to mention for her to be able to reach you in case there's a change of plans. I mean, we don't spring anything up on you on a big surprise, but Telegram is what we use to send a broadcast message to everybody on the group each day, usually in the late afternoon, early evening, to advise about what's happening the next day and to remind you to check the daily which is our schedule, which generally stays the same. But if there are logistical issues, weather or whatever that might force a change in a program, then Beth will alert you, and it'll all be in that document. So that's why getting Telegram set up and running on your phone. There is a bit of a learning curve, like changing your SIM card in your phone. But honestly, once you get it up and going, you'll be like, oh, this is easy. So that's
Gordon,
great.
before we move
Uh,
on,
yeah,
I do a little bit of
yeah,
a Telegram pitch.
please. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so a few of you have already said hello to me on Telegram, so thank you very much for doing that. I know some of you, maybe this was the first time and you were downloading it. I just want to really reiterate what Gordon said about the importance of being connected to Telegram, and it is now
Yeah,
mandatory. Wheel and Anchor does require it, and I know that sometimes
yes.
people are going on holiday and you're just like, I don't want to be connected to my phone, and I really appreciate and respect that. And I also just want to stress that it really does make a difference on those occasions where we can't meet you. Like we've agreed on a transfer site, but there's a problem, and now the van can't park there, and we need to meet somewhere else. It just ensures that I can reach you, and that also you can reach me if there's any change of anything.
Yeah,
And I promise you, I won't be blasting it and but also there's can be a really great aspect to it because this is the way that the group like shares information like, hey, I found this really great restaurant and I wanted to
yeah,
share and let people know about that, or hey, we're all going to get
yeah.
together a little bit later. And so it can really enhance our experience as a group and your experience on the trip. So I really want to encourage you, and I will help you if you don't understand it or you understand it enough to get on it now. Great. And when we're together, I can explain the basics to you, and I think you'll feel happy about it.
I agree. Uh, yes. So yeah, thank you for reiterating that. And, Telegram it seems like a pain. And if you're somebody that really doesn't want to look at all your other apps, Beth can help show you how to turn off all those other apps. And then all you have is Telegram. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. We can dumb down your smartphone. We have the ability. Sometimes I would like that. I would like my smartphone dumbed down so it's like a phone and maybe a camera. Anyway, um, yeah, great. Let's move on. Health protocols. Just a couple of quick points that I want to make on that, and I also want to address a question that Victoria has posed. There's just three things. First of all, non-smoking. If you are a smoker, please don't smoke while on any wheel and anchor sanctioned excursion or event or anything like that. Secondly, if you should injure yourself at any time and it happens, you twist your foot because you were walks, or whatever. We sometimes get so excited that we become a bit unconscious and little minor things can happen. But it's important you mention it to Beth because that way she can, and you both can sort of make a informed decision. Should we have this checked out by a clinic? There's lots of great clinics there, and it's easy and all the rest of it. We just always are extra careful to make sure that anything is it doesn't have the potential to be something more serious than it is because we've had the experience before where it's like, oh, it's just a sprain, and it's like, no, it's broken in three places, and 2 weeks later when you get home, we don't want that. So please let Beth know if you should injure yourself. And lastly, the if you arrive with, or if you contract any kind of a sniffle or a cough or any symptoms of a cold or COVID or whatever they call, all the different diseases that are floating around these days. Um, but if you have a symptom, please wear a mask, I think is the bottom line, because it's just respect for your fellow members. You're going to be together on excursions in vehicles for a lot of the time. And it's common in Asia. You'll see people that are ill wearing masks, as you know. We all hate them from the pandemic, but they are effective at, actually protecting against the spread of disease. So bring a mask. You can buy them anywhere there if you don't bring one with you. So that's just our request. Victoria asked about vaccines. We actually are not permitted to give you specific advice as to vaccines because we are not a medical whatever facility or institution. So we are I'm not allowed to tell you about vaccines. I will tell you that if you go to the Canadian government website, travel.gc.ca, and you look up Indonesia and you look where you're going, or if you just Google it or put it in ChatGPT, it will tell you about vaccines that you could take. I would strongly recommend that you consult with your physician or just go to a travel medical clinic. I can tell you my personal experiences. I don't take anything when I go to Bali, but that's just me. And everybody's different, and you have to make your own decision about what's right for you. Um, there are tropical diseases that exist there as everywhere else in the tropics. But yeah, so look it up. I think it's important to look it up, inform yourself, and make a decision accordingly. So that's all that I will say about that. So fast forward to a month from now, you're going to be all ready to leave, and it's going to be snowing outside, and that's the time when you want to be checking your phone and making sure that you monitor for any emails or text messages from your airline, because that's also the time when things happen at the airport and things don't go according to plan, and the airlines are pretty good at letting you know in advance. If you The moment that you realize something goes awry, and hopefully it doesn't, but things happen. And you will not be able to arrive into Bali on the flight that you were scheduled to arrive on, is when you need to inform Beth by telegram so that she can let the transfer company know to not be there when you were supposed to be there. Now, that applies if you're arriving on day one. If you're coming in early, then you'll have made your own transfer arrangements. But I would urge you to do the same. Make sure you let your company, Welcome Pickups, or whoever it may have been, know that you are going to be delayed the moment that you find out, because you're all going to be connecting somewhere. Some of you are flying to Singapore and then on to Bali, or via Hong Kong, or whatever route you may be taking. It's that connecting flight. If you miss it, we need to know if you're not on it. If it's delayed, that's fine. We'll know that it's delayed because obviously that information is public. But if you're not on the plane, we have no way of knowing unless you tell us. It's a long flight. That goes without saying. It's a 13-hour time difference from the Eastern Standard Time. That makes it 16 from the West Coast. And so, you know, prepare for jet lag, have a comfortable flight, get some rest, hydrate a lot, all the things that one does one ought to do when one flies. You might also consider using a jet lag mitigation app like timeshifter.com. It's in your documentation. A number of our hosts use it to help to, you know, impact the effects of jet lag. I just got here to Thailand 2 weeks ago. I swear it took me a week to get adjusted to the time. I didn't use Time Shifter this time, and so it's a word of advice. But have a good trip over. When you arrive into Bali, as I mentioned previously, just the formalities with paying the tourist tax and having the electronic customs declaration filled out in advance. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. It is a busy airport, as you can well imagine. The whole world is arriving in Bali. And so when you come out into the arrivals area after you pass through immigration and collect your luggage, our driver will be there. I think in Bali, they've never not been there, but you never know. Something happens, be patient, look around. There'll be a lot of people in the arrival hall. There's always a lot of people in the arrival hall in Bali. And you'll see 100 signs. Your name will be there on a sign somewhere with somebody. Please be patient. But if you don't find the person, within a reasonable period of time after you arrive, then again, log on to the airport Wi-Fi and send a note to Beth saying, hey, I can't find my transfer driver. And then, she'll get in touch and it will all happen. And then you'll be on your way to the hotel. Your first stop is Ubud, right? It is a bit of a drive. And so you're going to come into Bali and you're going to get your first taste of Bali traffic. Bali is a wonderful place. I love Bali, except for the traffic. The traffic is all of an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the traffic in Bali. And so, yeah, you'll get to sort of experience what that's all about. And then you're starting your vacation, and Beth will be there at the hotel waiting for when you arrive. So this is the map of Bali. As you know, it's this little island down in the archipelago of Indonesia, adjacent to Java, which is over here to the left. And so, we all think Bali is this small island. It's largely because most people around Denpasar, which is where the airport is. The island itself is quite huge relative to where people go. But you'll get a good taste of it by, we've structured it this year by spending the first week in Ubud, which is the cultural capital, because you're also a lot closer to Mount Batur, to the Water Temple, to the Jatilawi rice terraces, and so on and so forth. The second week, then, of course, you're down here on the coast in Sanur, which is a lovely little neighborhood it's so much more charming and a little laid back than Kuta and Seminyak and all these other places that Bali is so well known for. So, and this obviously gives you access then over to Nusa Penida, which is an excursion that we've got by boat, and not to mention the beach, because there's no beach in Ubud, but there's lots of things to do. So just again, touching on what this is all about, Ubud, I adore Ubud. I adore the hotel. I was there 2 years ago when I discovered it originally, and uh, no, was it 2 years ago or was it last year? My goodness, time flies. No, it was 2 years ago. And Bali is magnificent, and Ubud is your hotel is about a 5 minute drive, again depending on traffic, outside of the main street of Ubud. You can walk it. It's a good walk. It's downhill on the way there. It's a little bit uphill on the way back, but there's no sidewalks for a lot of the stretch. So um, the hotel provides a shuttle anyway, going back and forth. But you'll want to spend your time in Ubud. The hotel is lovely. You may not want to leave the hotel because it's like a Balinese temple. It's like a Balinese home. And so the architecture is very much like you see here at this temple. But there's so much to take in, walking around and the shops and the cafes. And yeah, it's just fantastic. You'll get a chance to see some of the culture. If you're lucky, there might be a festival on. The Balinese are known for their festivals. They happen all the time, parades and all kinds of colorful things going on. This area around Ubud is, you'll see, it's all canyons of rivers that flow down from the volcano. And which is why the roads are all weird, because they have to follow these canyons until they hit a main road, which is like the main road of Ubud. Beautiful waterfalls. You'll get to see some of those, and of course the rice terraces that are a big part of what Bali is all about. So you'll have a chance to walk around in there and get some amazing photographs. And this is the cultural side of Bali. And once you've been there for a week, you won't want to leave. But then you get to Sanur, and then you're on the beach. And as I say, Sanur is a lovely beachfront community. There's a boardwalk, a promenade. You can sort of see it here in front, that runs from all across the hotel. I think it's about, I never walked the whole length of it when I was there. I know it's got to be a few kilometers long anyway. And there's cafes and hotels and all along. It's a it's a great spot. You'll go down to Uluwatu, which is in the very south part of the island, and visit some temples there, as well as the striking rocky coastline that they have. There's a chance to do a Balinese cooking class. Try the Balinese food. You're going to find in your neighborhood, your hotel, particularly in Sanur, when you're right in the thick of things. There's Italian restaurants and French, and there's all the international restaurants. And people tend to shy away from Balinese food because it's not as well known as Thai food, for example. But try the things; they are so tasty. There's so many interesting flavors in there, and the cooking class, of course, gives you a good insight into some of that. So that's just a few tidbits. We also have access to a driver, Booty. He's a lovely chap. Beth will give you the information when we're there. If you want to just go out and explore on your own on one of the free days, you can hire him for a whole day. I think it's not even $100. And he'll take you around wherever you want to go. You want to go shopping, you want to find a particular artifact or ornament or whatever it is. Booty is the guy, and he's a lovely chap, and he's sort of our local little taxi driver that takes us around. Are there any more questions? Let me see if I've got the ones that are here. I talked about the vaccines. Terry asked about if men need to cover knees as well as ladies. Technically, yes. However, my experience is that if you're wearing longer, like Bermuda shorts, They're fine with that. Um, the worst case scenario is that most temples will, I think all the temples that we're visiting will provide sarongs. You'll rent them for 50 cents or something if somebody really made a big stink about it. But I have not personally had an issue going in with, Bermuda shorts. Now, if you're wearing, tennis shorts that are sort of cut really high, that would be not appropriate for there. But longer shorts are fine. Ladies, on the other hand, must cover knees and shoulders. That's a non-negotiable. Um, Perfect. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay. Any other questions coming in? Okay. Well, we're about to wrap it up. So if you think of another question, let me know. There we go. Another question just came in. Um, where do we go? Oh, no. Did I get them all? Did I get it? Answered open. Here we go. No, got it. Okay.
Uh,
I think we
yeah.
got all the questions. If you, of course, think of a question just after the webinar is over or tomorrow or next week, drop us a note. I mean, you can absolutely message Beth. She's your host. She's obviously got answers to most of the questions. You can also send an email to Melody, who is our sales support person. Maybe you already spoke to her if you booked your flights through us. She is there also to answer any questions. We want to make sure that you're ready to go. So do not hold back. Ask your questions. Let us know. And yeah, and that way you will be able to enjoy Bali to the fullest. That's it for me, Beth. Is there anything else that we have not covered? Oh, you have a small group this year, which is lovely because you got Beth all to yourself. There's 8 of you on the trip. Is right? Is that right? We haven't. The number hasn't changed since the last time I checked. Oh, one other thing, please remember, even though you're a small group this year, um, luggage tag. Uh, Please make sure that your bag does have some kind of a luggage tag on it with your name and address. It makes things a lot easier for managing luggage at the hotel, so they can identify and bring your bags to the room, and so that Beth can see, your names if we're loading on counting. So just make sure that you have a good, clear, visible tag on your suitcase. That's very helpful. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm looking through my notes. I can't find anything else.
You,
Final words from you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, these webinars are always the beginning of the trip for me, and I'm really excited to be planning to be with you in Bali for 2 weeks. I will be monitoring now the Telegram channel, so you probably have seen, those of you that are connected and those of you that will connect, there's a chat, and that's a two-way communication where we can all speak to one another. And then there's a channel where I will provide just important trip information. So I will start posting things much closer to the date, but the chat usually starts now because people are like, what are you packing? Here's a webinar or a podcast I listen to. So I will be monitoring. That's a place you can either ask a question of me in the whole group setting, or you can DM me and I'll be happy to answer. Just remember anything about your trip, like logistics, your flights, etc., that would go to the operation team. But
Yeah.
anything that you're wondering about, like in country or once you arrive or the itinerary, etc., that can come to me. I won't be checking it every day right now, but week in advance. I will be there every day, but I'll be checking it every other day or so. So if there might be a little bit of a delay to getting back to you, but I will get back to you. And yeah, thank you so much for those that are here and those that are watching later. I'm really looking forward to being with you.
Indeed. Have a fantastic time in Bali. You will enjoy it thoroughly, and I look forward to hearing your feedback when you come back. So, bon voyage, and we'll hopefully see you all very soon. Bye bye.
Bye.